Alright, we're back again with another video because my clanmate friend just gave me the dual Broncos and Gut Stitcher to try out. Wants to see how they perform in the Wastelands with my level of boosts. So that's what we're gonna do. And we got audio this time. So to anybody who's never used these weapons, this is my first time as well, but they do not detonate exploding enemies. So the black bones are no longer a threat. So it's pretty cool to not have to dodge them any longer. Because if you guys have seen any of my other videos, I'm always blowing up the bones on myself. Especially when I'm using very high damage weapons. Like the Dawn AR in alt fire mode. One-shots them. I haven't done a video on it recently, but I was playing with the Dawn Striker yesterday. And it's pretty good. It shreds. But every time a bone would step in front of me like it just did there, I would take damage. Especially because like when you're backpedaling like this, they can come behind you and they'll step right in front of you and then you blow them up. We'll see an example of that here shortly, probably. See, there's aggro coming from behind me. Boom, there's a bone. And see how it blew up right in my face? If I was not using these Broncos, that would have been a tick of damage. And that guy right there. These are pretty good. I would say that the worst part would be just the reload. Because you've got that brief, like, quarter second, I think. So I'm at max reload, so I think it's a quarter second. You get that brief quarter second of not firing. So if you have anything that's up on you when you're reloading, you're gonna get hit. Waiting on that reload. See, that tendril managed to take a swing. It missed, but something did hit me earlier. Overall, though, you're still gonna get hit a lot less because no explosives. It's just kind of massive. These things are nice, though. Of course, as you can see, my boosts, I am literally stacked right now. And it's only doing 50 damage per pellet in its maximum damage range. You'll see the fall off towards the edge of the screen. It's like, what's that, like 45 down there? I saw like a 39 way out there, 38. If you look at these numbers up here. So you really gotta have them like up in your face. Which, of course, is not hard to do since you don't detonate the exploders. You can let them get in your face. But if you're not hitting any damage thresholds, like if you're an early game player with no damage boosts or whatever, I don't know if these are going to be worth it, because they may kill too slow. You may have issues reloading if you don't have max reload. I've also got a crap ton of dexterity, so like I'm kitted right now. This is like an end game setup. Ouch. Doggy bite. We'll try the Gut Stitcher here in a second. It's actually kind of fun with these shotguns, not gonna lie. I don't know if it's better than the Dawn Striker I didn't bring my Dawn Striker to compare. I should have. I had the inventory space, but I filled it up with repair kits instead. I don't know why. I should have brought it to compare, but the Dawn Striker, like I said, the issue with that one is blowing up the bones. You've got to bring a lot of repair kits, or maybe if you're grinding with the Parasitic Husk, then you'll be able to negate some of the bones that are exploding. I honestly think the Dawn Striker is better than the Wraith Cannon, though. Alright, so I realized that I was still muted like 30 seconds ago. And I was gonna scrap the video and just redo it, but too lazy. After the pause when I switched weapons, I had to do a little cut because my mom was freaking out over a bug. Oh, I am out of stamina. Anyway, my commentary that I was saying about this gun was, well, first I was questioning what it even did, because I've never used it, but I found out that it is a 100% crit rate, only shoots one bullet, and it's got a pretty good damage per hit. So it does 266, it also does not detonate bones, just like the Broncos, but it does 266, but the Dawn SMG technically out DPSs it, I believe, because even though it's only got an 80% crit rate, it shoots 2 bullets, and mine was doing 158 damage, so that's over 300 per shot, and since it's got a pretty tight cone, you're pretty much going to land both of those shots on the same target. But even if you don't, because it has such a high high fire rate and mag size and all that, you're going to land up follow shots a lot quicker. Well, I mean, it's probably the same fire rate as this gun. They're both probably the same fire rate. So really, the only benefit I see this gun being over the Dawn SMG is, well, I think this one's obviously obtainable over the Dawn SMG, but not talking about, like, obtainability. Really, the only benefit I see is it being 100% crit rate and not needing to, or not detonating the bones. That's really it. But really, I think I'd prefer the Dawn SMG because I felt a lot safer using it. I didn't feel like I needed to sprint as much. Although, yes, I did blow up more bones in my face. But, you know, that's going to happen really with any gun that you're going to use, so unless, I would say unless you're, like, really early into the game, where you just can't afford a bajillion repair kits, this isn't the gun for you. If you're at the stage where you can afford repair kits, just grind with whatever you want that's better than this gun. And if you blow up some stuff in your face, whatever, just repair your armor and continue. But this thing isn't terrible if you really want the safety of not blowing up the bones. But then, if you also have to compare the two, the Broncos are way better. So if you want a gun that's going to do a ton of work and not blow up bones, it's these Broncos right here. I mean, you can see the catastrophic damage it does. I will say the Titans kind of get in the way with these. It shoves them back a little, but it doesn't have that slow that the Dawn weapons had. When a Titan gets in the way when you're using a Dawn weapon, it gets slowed and kind of like ends up back at the back of the crowd while everything else ends up dead. So like when I'm using the Dawn SMG, everything else is getting completely shredded and the Titan is just getting pushed back into the crowd. So he's really not in the way, he's not a threat. With these, they kind of make their way to the front of the crowd and they kind of tank the shots a little bit. That one's getting thrown back a good bit. Maybe it's only when there's a few of them. Maybe when there's like a couple of them, they just kind of get in the way. I think for someone like me, the Dawn weapons are better. They're just gonna do better for me. They're overall better weapons. It's just that I have to grind with more repair kits. But that's not that big of a deal. Also, I've been getting hit a lot more recently just because my movement speed is so low. I don't know what kind of movement speed the top players have and are grinding with. But for me, I'm only at 55 because I put on the Annihilation implant in order to get to this high damage that I needed. I also don't know what kind of damage. You see all those Titans, how they're kind of getting in the way? So I was talking about earlier. Yeah, I don't know how much damage a lot of the endgame players are grinding with. Because usually when I look at, like, if I go click on, like, the top clan for the week and then click on, like, their top guy, they usually have very similar implants to me, including they do have the Annihilation on, which has the 20 negative movement speed, and, like, they'll have the Sage and everything. But I'm not sure how much damage they're at. Maybe they have less damage than me. And in place of some of the damage implants, maybe they're running speed. But I'm only at 55 right here. And I'll tell you what, it's a little bit annoying. You do get hit a lot more with the bones. And I'm not saying that it's impossible to grind at this speed in the regular wastelands. You definitely can, as you can see I am. And the Broncos not blowing up bones is huge for having such low speed. Because not only do they push back and I'm pretty safe, if anything gets in my face, it's not going to blow up. So it's overall pretty safe weapon. But you see, there is just a little bit of struggle. Just a little. And you gotta remember, if you're not kitted out like I am, then these things may not work out so well. But yeah, I gotta watch a guide on, like, what's the optimal grinding implant setup. I'll show you guys what I'm using real quick before I end the video. Yeah, these things are pretty nice. The Gut Stitcher's not bad either, but I think the Dawn SMG is better. So, I've got Symbiont Mimicked. That's what, like, almost everyone uses when they're grinding, because the attack speed is just necessary for high DPS. I see most people with the Apex on, with the Dawn Warrior on. These two are very good. I think I usually see people with the Mutant. I'll have to check again. I don't know if I've seen anybody with the Feral Heart, but I'm using this because it's got good damage, little damage reduction, little speed, and it only costs me search speed, which I do not care about while I'm grinding. Omni Drive for more attack speed, Serpent for more attack speed. The Orange Jack for me could maybe be replaced. This one's more of a looting implant because of the move speed and the loot spots. So I could honestly replace this with something else. But the reason I didn't replace it with any other damage implant was because I don't have any other damage implants. Unless I threw on like an ERR X Violence or whatever. Because I think that's like 8%. But at that rate, there's no point. Because with the Orange Jack, I lose 1% damage, but gain 7% movement speed. And I've got the Calamity on. I've got the Dead Man's Grass. This is, most people have the Fat Man, but I wasn't playing when that came out, so I got the Dead Man's Grasp instead. The Trinity I don't think I usually see people with this one, so this could be one that maybe I switch off. I kept it because it's well balanced. Savage Eye. Most people have the Frostbite. I didn't have it, so I went with this version instead because it's cheaper. I do lose some movement speed though, which could be what's hurting my build because I think the Frostbite is like 17% damage, and it also doesn't have the negative movement speed. So most people have that benefit over me when they're grinding. And I grabbed the Swordstone, the Blood Fiend, and I had an Amber at one point, but I got rid of it. Got the Bone Spire Graft. Again, that could be another reason why I'm just moving so slow compared to some other grinders, because between the two of these, that's 6% movement speed down. So that, that could be a bad thing. Got the Dark Pumpkin, got the Mortality, got the Annihilation, and I'm using the Sucker Link for more attack speed. So that's what I'm currently using. And then it could be my backpack too, now that I'm thinking about it. I think a lot of people that are grinding probably don't have such a big backpack. Because even though it's got a lot of slots to store some extra stuff in it, I'm losing 8% more speed there. So I'm losing 8 and 6. That's what, 14. And then another 6, that's 20%. Plus I'm losing 20% on the Annihilation. So I'm losing 40%. So I guess that's where my speed is coming from, or going from. So I guess that pretty much answers my own question of, where I'm going wrong on my build. I gotta get a smaller backpack for grinding. And then I could probably look into the alternatives for these two, but probably not going to be able to replace those. Can't really afford that right now. Anyway, thanks for watching.